After some billionaire ordered his goons to tie me up and toss me in a van to force me to sleep with his daughter, I woke up to a girl I'd never seen before clinging to me. A stray lock of hair danced on her forehead, and her big, bright eyes seemed to say, "Finally, I've got you." I was completely stunned. I tried to wriggle free, but her grip only tightened, and I could feel her ample breasts pressing against my chest. Mortified, I glanced toward the billionaire, but he looked away with a knowing, helpless shrug. I resigned myself to letting the girl sleep soundly on top of me. Before long, I felt my shirt getting soaked with drool. By then, I was too tired to complain and just muttered to myself, "What in the world is going on?" Looking out the window at the night, I was sure we were driving somewhere. When the car pulled up to a luxurious mansion, it screeched to a halt at the front door. A stunning, curvaceous woman saw me and hurried over. I glanced at the girl, still fast asleep on me. I was almost certain that the woman in front of me was this girl's mother. After some gentle coaxing, I stepped out of the car and into the mansion. As soon as I gently laid the girl down on the sofa, she rubbed her eyes, blinked sleepily, and, finding me sitting nearby, threw herself on me again in a tight embrace. The gorgeous woman returned, carrying a plate of fruit. "Go ahead and eat," she said. By this point, I wanted to scream. "I'm Ethan, by the way," I said. "Can someone please tell me why you're calling me buddy?" The beautiful woman sat to my right, took the girl's hand, and stroked it gently. "We know your name is Ethan," she said, "but Heidi has always called you buddy, so we've just gone along with it." I rubbed my face, still confused. "I don't understand. Do you remember what happened 12 years ago? You were in the orphanage at the time." "How could I forget? It was the source of nightmares for over a decade. Because I was curious, I ran off alone to that dilapidated church up Mount Tomo. Peeking through a crack in the door, I saw something I'll never forget. A young girl lying motionless across the threshold, her skin was waxen, her small face frozen in terror. Her abdomen had been sliced open, her organs pulled out, and blood covered the floor. 5 other girls were tied up nearby, their mouths stuffed with rags, their eyes wide with horror. Among them were a pair of twin sisters who had even fainted. On the altar inside the church, a middle-aged man with a ferocious look on his face was raising a shiny knife, ready to strike. I don't know why, but faced with such a horrifying scene, I didn't run. Though my whole body was shaking, I grabbed a rock from the ground and threw it at the church door. The door crashed open, and 8-year-old me yelled, "Don't be afraid. Buddy's here to save you." The middle-aged man was startled. While he was distracted, I picked up another rock and hurled it at the back of his head. Miraculously, it hit him square on the head. He just collapsed. I quickly grabbed the knife and cut the ropes binding the remaining girls. I told the girls who could move to help me carry the door out of the church. Then we placed the 2 unconscious girls and the girl who couldn't walk on the altar along with the body onto the door. The kids worked together to drag the door down the mountain. At the foot of the mountain, we ran into a police car. Only then did I feel an indescribable fear. I asked one of the girls to get the officer while I slipped back to the orphanage. As I got older, whenever I thought about it, I felt like that was probably the most glorious moment of my life. But thinking about the girl who died always choked me up. Thinking about it, I subconsciously ruffled the girl's hair in my arms. This little sister must be one of them. At that time, her mother took her daughter's hand and said gratefully, "We don't know how to thank you." When her father remembered, he also felt moved to tears and said, "You were only 8 years old at the time, and the person who was going to attack was my daughter. I can assure you that you saved 6 lives." If the police had made too much noise while searching or had let him hear the sound of the police siren, that criminal would definitely have killed all the children without hesitation. It turned out that this criminal also had a daughter, but his official position was taken by powerful people in order to take revenge, so he kidnapped all the girls of the same age from the city's prestigious families. At this time, my mother took a piece of watermelon and interrupted us, "Honey, don't say anything more. It's all in the past." I took the fruit and said thank you, then looked up and asked in a puzzled manner, "So what are you guys looking for me for?" Although hugging the little girl was comfortable, I was really embarrassed in front of her parents. Hearing this, Father Tomo showed a look of bitterness. "The girls who survived all have more or less post-traumatic stress disorder, especially my daughter. Because she was so excited, she still can't talk. Every time, she yells and asks why Buddy hasn't come yet. The Buddy she was talking about was you. At first, we didn't intend to disturb your life, so we used AI technology to create an 8-year-old version of you to comfort her, But as time went by, Heidi learned to distinguish between the real and the fake, so she always remembered you. Here, Father Tomo stood up and bowed deeply. As a father, I ask you to help my daughter. I really don't know what to do. Because I was holding a koala bear who was sleeping, I couldn't stand up to help him, but I couldn't help but be moved. Don't say that. I will help you. Don't do that. Father Tomo couldn't hold back his tears when he heard this. He took my hand and thanked him repeatedly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Father Tomo wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. Joan, take Heidi to take a shower first, so I can talk to Ethan in detail. Hearing this, Mother Tomo took a 3D mask from the sofa, put it on her face, and gently patted her daughter's shoulder. Heidi, let's take a shower. Seeing this, I was completely stunned. Heidi Tomo rubbed her eyes, looked up at the two Ethan in front of her, then stretched out her hand and pinched my cheek, then kissed her face, full of pride as if she was saying, you guys are also going to lie to me, aren't you? Mother Tomo looked embarrassed when she saw this. Are you going to let Ethan bathe Heidi in the future? Hearing this, my whole body trembled. I looked at the little girl in my arms, gently coaxing, Heidi, only bad girls let boys bathe for them. I hate bad girls the most. Heidi Tomo pouted her lips and finally got off my body. She pulled on Mother Tomo's sleeve and whispered, Mom. Mother Tomo took off her mask, gave me a grateful look, and took her daughter's hand and went into the bathroom. Honey, today you want the 8-year-old buddy doll or the 18-year-old buddy doll? Heidi Tomo raised 2 fingers. I want both. Heidi, you're so greedy. Girls can't be greedy. Mother Tomo stroked her daughter's head lovingly. Ah, I know that's right. So smart. Heidi Tomo patted her chest proudly and smiled proudly. He made my mouth twitch. Yeah, you're really smart. Heidi Tomo smiled sweetly when she heard this and waved her hand. Oi. 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 Helpless, I could only reply, go. 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 Go take a shower. At this time I was determined to cure Heidi Tomo's illness. Otherwise, I would think of a corner of the tea house in the middle of the night. Not only did he hide his mask, but he also had a doll made in my image. This was too scary. So I went straight to the point. Uncle, how should I coordinate the treatment with your daughter? Father Tomo stroked his chin and said, the doctor recommends that you have a lot of contact with her. Why don't you try living with my daughter for a while? As for money, why don't you propose it? I scratched my face and casually said a monthly salary of $3,000. Hearing this, Father Tomo showed a look of disapproval. $300,000? Our bodyguards can still get $20,000 a month. My daughter must be worth more than those smelly men. The bodyguards coughed twice at the door at this time. I shook my head and said, then please find someone else. The price is too high, and I don't feel at ease. Why is this young man so polite? Okay, 3,000 it is. Father Tomo sighed helplessly. If I can cure my daughter, I won't take more money from you. Currently, you are still in college. Does that mean Heidi will go to school with you? Father Tomo nodded. I also have that idea. Heidi has no intellectual problems. She is even smarter than normal people. I hope she can have more contact with things outside the family. Uncle, I will try my best. Why are you still calling me uncle? I didn't want to pay attention to Father Tomo's teasing and could only stiffly change the topic. Have you discussed it with my parents? Father Tomo scratched his head and said a little embarrassedly, it's okay. Your parents are easy to talk to. I will talk to them myself at that time. Then it's decided. My daughter is so cute. It won't hurt for you to sleep with her. I wiped my face and said awkwardly, you really trust me too much. Hearing this, Father Tomo was expressionless. As a father, I'm as uncomfortable as if I swallowed dung. Father Tomo seemed to be immersed in some memory. Ethan, do you know what it feels like to coax a daughter to sleep while wearing someone else's mask? 12 years, a full 12 years. Do you know how I have lived these 12 years? I covered my face. Although I was very embarrassed, I really laughed until I cramped. It's not early anymore. Let's talk about business. Father Tomo sat up straight, crossed his arms, and said, currently, Heidi can still accept women, but with men other than you, she will have an uncomfortable physiological reaction. The important thing is that her sexual orientation is still normal. If she can't be cured, I can only ask you to marry her. I only have one daughter. This industry will be handed over to you too in the future. If you can get married, I guarantee that you will never have to worry about food or clothing in your life. My 3,000 a month also includes this condition? I didn't force you. I only took 3,000. Otherwise, why do you think I offered 300,000 a month? Father Tomo said with a look of course, or do you think my daughter is not beautiful? Isn't she cute? Isn't she in good shape? I clearly knew that I wasn't doing anything, but it seemed a bit too much. So I quickly explained, don't be angry. I don't think it's that bad. I'm just trying to help a little. You're talking nonsense. You dislike my daughter and despise her, thinking that she doesn't know how to talk. Father Tomo was furious. Uncle, in fact, I quite like girls with naive personalities, but Heidi is a bit too naive. Moreover, we haven't even met and decided on our lives. Isn't this too hasty? Father Tomo pointed at his nose, am I being irresponsible? Am I randomly marrying my daughter to someone else? Speaking of this, Mr. Tomo crossed his arms and said seriously, do you think I didn't investigate you from childhood to adulthood? Height, weight, health examination report. For my daughter's happiness, I even know your size, and I even found a way to investigate your browsing history. I also asked a fortune teller in all fields. They all said it was good. What are you relying on to say that I made a hasty decision about the second half of my daughter's life? After Father Tomo said this for a while, my CPU seemed to be burned. Father Tomo gasped, are you still hesitating? Do you dislike my daughter for being abnormal? I'm wrong. Why don't you change your address? Hurry up. Don't force me to get angry. Hearing this, I blankly replied, Dad. Good boy. Now we are a family. Mr. Tomo turned into a master and changed his face and smiled very kindly, now that my daughter is older, I can only support her as a father. In the future, if you betray Heidi, even if you run to the ends of the earth, I won't let you go. Hearing this, I immediately woke up, what the hell is going on? At this time, Mr. Tomo suddenly called out to the door, Little Zhao, and then several bodyguards took a ladder and removed the camera in the corner of the wall. Seeing this, the corners of my mouth twitched. I was still wondering why the rich family installed a camera in their living room. Uncle, you. Shut up. In the future, if you marry someone else, I will rent all the electronic screens in the city you live in to play this video. I rubbed my forehead, feeling that this joke was a bit too much. Uncle. Mr. Tomo interrupted me once again, as a father, I am really helpless. What if my daughter can't be cured? I have to have a guarantee, right? Just then, the bathroom door opened, and both the mother and daughter had changed into pajamas. Seeing this, I looked at Mr. Tomo and only admired him in my heart. He was so lucky to have two angels like this. Heidi Tomo's face was even more rosy and lovely because of the heat. Because it was summer, the nightgown was short and thin. Under the skirt was a layer of white voile. Heidi Tomo ran quickly to me, Yeah. I stared blankly at Mrs. Tomo. Mrs. Tomo explained a little embarrassedly, she told you to take a shower. I swallowed and asked in surprise, isn't that right? I advised her not to. Mrs. Tomo was very embarrassed, Heidi insisted on sleeping with you. Heidi Tomo crossed her arms, exactly like Mr. Tomo, and nodded her small head very seriously, You. The baby said that you ran away secretly just now, and I'm afraid you will sneak away this time too. How do you understand what the baby means? Just understand with love, Mrs. Tomo said seriously. One day you will understand, can I refuse? Heidi Tomo waved her white and pink hands anxiously and called out, The baby said no. Heidi said she has wanted a baby for a long time. Mrs. Tomo's face was as red as if blood was dripping. Why are you talking about these things? Heidi Tomo nodded very seriously and raised one finger to explain, Mrs. Tomo held her head and said embarrassedly, if I had known, I wouldn't have let you read romance novels. Mr. Tomo's face was as black as charcoal. What is my daughter saying? Since I knew you were coming with Heidi, as a mother, I had to give my daughter some advice, right? In order for Heidi to be prepared, I showed her love stories on the internet. Maybe she remembered the plot and summed up a rule that women who have children will eventually win. She said it like that. After listening, Father Tomo froze. Although the company was busy, I never did anything excessive and was never cold to you. Why did you watch those things? Mother Tomo was a little aggrieved. It's precisely because the marriage is too happy that I feel that this happiness is not easy to come by. Father Tomo pondered for a while and nodded in agreement. Then it is necessary to watch it. Share it with me later. After a while, Father Tomo said again, Heidi can't learn it, right? Mother Tomo hesitated for a moment. Probably not. There are no such scenes in the book. Father Tomo nodded. Then install an anti-fraud app for her to avoid her learning it. Mother Tomo nodded, and Tomo Heidi raised her small head in confusion and asked, A. It's nothing. This can only be taught by Buddy. Parents can't teach you. Heidi Tomo nodded, looking like she understood. I stood beside her and looked like I didn't understand anything. What is this? What's going on? Lying in the luxurious bathtub, I muttered helplessly, it's rare to see such an unreasonable rich man. Although Heidi Tomo is very cute, I can't be a bad guy. It seems that my uncle has taken away my ability to be a bad guy, but I am only 20 years old. It is the age of hot blood boiling, and sometimes it will stand up, for example, now. Seeing this, I quickly recited a Tao Te Ching, washed up hastily, and left the bathroom. In the living room, Mother Tomo brought a glass of milk, and Heidi Tomo also took half a glass. Maybe she wanted to drink it with me. Maybe she was greedy and drank half of the glass, her white lips smeared. Taking the milk, I touched the glass with Heidi Tomo. 1,000 cups. Hearing this, Heidi Tomo was very happy and her eyes curved and smiled, ah. Yo. At this time, Mother Tomo came behind me and adjusted my shirt collar for me, then looked at Tomo Heidi and told her, Heidi, in the future, when the man in our family goes out, we have to dress him up. The man in our family is so handsome, there will be many people jealous of him, so these small details have to be paid attention to. Heidi Tomo nodded as if she understood or didn't understand. Hearing this, my face turned red and I coughed a few times. What? I will treat Heidi like my own sister. Mother Tomo looked at Mr. Tomo blankly and frowned. Didn't you say you succeeded? Is this woman stupid? I said I succeeded. Don't ask in front of me. Oh, so you're shy? Mother Tomo covered her mouth and smiled with a worried, shy, and hesitant mood. Finally, I was led by Mother Tomo into a room full of girlish feelings. Heidi's room was very tidy. Although there were no dolls as imagined, I saw a body pillow made in my image on the bed, as well as red silk sheets and blankets. Seeing this, Mother Tomo explained a little embarrassedly, this is what Heidi asked for after reading the novel. At this time I really didn't know what to say. Mother Tomo told Heidi to brush her teeth quickly, and then she could go to bed. Heidi blinked, obviously not wanting to brush her teeth herself. Children can do it themselves, and men hate it especially because my daughter can't take care of herself. Mrs. Tomo seemed to have mastered the trick, as Heidi quickly dashed into the bathroom to brush her teeth. After closing the door, Mrs. Tomo leaned in and whispered, Ethan, I know this is hard on you. My husband can be a bit of a jokester, please don't mind him. It's okay, Auntie. If Uncle wasn't so funny, I'd be even more embarrassed than I already am, I replied. Hearing this, Mrs. Tomo sighed, if we weren't out of options, we wouldn't do something this absurd. It's not that serious, Auntie. Besides, Heidi is adorable, I'll think of her as my own little sister. Mrs. Tomo nodded, then said sincerely, thank you for taking care of Heidi. Don't worry, Auntie, I'll definitely help Heidi get through this. At that moment, Heidi Tomo took small steps out of the bathroom, but after feeling the toothpaste foam at the corner of her mouth, she turned around and ran back into the bathroom. Seeing this, Mrs. Tomo couldn't help but smile gently, that silly girl. Soon, Heidi Tomo came out of the bathroom again and opened her mouth wide, as if explaining something to me. Mrs. Tomo helplessly rubbed her forehead. Heidi said she could brush her teeth herself, she just forgot to wipe her mouth because she was so eager to see you. Hearing this, I gave Heidi a thumbs up, you're great. Heidi Tomo scratched her head shyly. Hee hee. Alright, Mom's going to bed too. Tomorrow is Saturday, you can sleep in and don't need to wake up early. Heidi Tomo impatiently pushed Mrs. Tomo out of the room and immediately turned around to hug my waist. It had been an hour. I really couldn't take it anymore, so I patted Heidi Tomo's back and coaxed, let's go to sleep. Heidi Tomo obediently let go, then took out something fluffy and motioned for me to clean her ears, then obediently laid her head on my lap. But before I could start, Heidi Tomo had fallen asleep. Seeing this, I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. After covering her with a blanket, I sat cross-legged and lay down because I was too tired and the cushion was big and comfortable. I quickly fell asleep. When I woke up, I felt my neck was wet and I felt warmth next to my ear. I slowly turned my face and saw Heidi Tomo's innocent sleeping face, and my arm was under her neck, which was completely numb at this point. Sleeping in the same bed with someone else with whom I had no blood relationship, I had never had that since I could remember. Luckily, the psychological suggestion from last night worked and temporarily restrained the beastly power of my body. At this time, Heidi Tomo seemed hungry and automatically smacked her lips a few times, then opened her mouth and bit my ear. I shuddered again, and a round of incantations automatically played in my head. After a dozen seconds, Heidi Tomo released it with satisfaction. At this point, my face was ashen. Drinking too much late at night and wandering alone will indeed lead to things. I don't know how long it had been when the door was gently pushed open and Mrs. Tomo's gentle voice rang out, "Heidi, wake up." I opened my eyes immediately and was about to roll out of bed, but then I thought it would be too deliberate and it would be more appropriate to pretend to be asleep. Hearing this, Heidi Tomo rubbed her eyes, saw the person coming, smiled innocently, then closed her eyes and stretched out her hands towards Mrs. Tomo standing at the door. But after waiting for a while, Mrs. Tomo didn't come to pick her up. Heidi Tomo was very dissatisfied and opened her eyes. Seeing this, Mrs. Tomo helplessly pointed to behind Heidi Tomo. The little girl's face was puzzled and suddenly realized something, turning her head, just in time to meet my eyes that were extremely embarrassed. Heidi Tomo frowned, rubbed her eyes, reached out and pinched my chin, seemingly wanting to remove the mask, and finally remembered that this was the real deal. A look of joy immediately appeared. Without thinking, she turned over and hugged me tightly, then rubbed against my chest. I felt two soft masses on my chest and my expression changed slightly. "She's not wearing a bra?" Looking at the hickeys on her neck in the bathroom, I sighed helplessly. Why did I get confused and come into the room last night? Luckily nothing happened last night. "Ethan, time to eat." Mrs. Tomo's voice came from the living room, interrupting my train of thought. I sat down heavily at the dining table. Mrs. Tomo sat opposite and naturally picked up food for me, which made me very embarrassed. Suddenly, Heidi Tomo also picked up a piece of meat for me with chopsticks and smiled sweetly at me. Mrs. Tomo supported her chin, looking at this scene. Her gentle smile was extremely warm and the light of motherhood was even more dazzling than the sun outside. "Oh, Auntie, did Uncle go to work?" I asked. "No, he's coming to our house for dinner." "We'll go to your house later too," Mrs. Tomo said. Hearing this, my face turned red. "Auntie, can you not tell my parents about what happened between me and Heidi last night?" Mrs. Tomo nodded. Okay. I didn't expect you to be so big and still be afraid of your parents." "How cute. Is this a scary thing?" Because I was uneasy, I ate 2 bowls of rice and was full. Heidi Tomo was still eating, so I and Mrs. Tomo chatted about everyday things at the table, while Heidi Tomo was neglected. She had never seen her mother being so gentle and a little annoying, so she would occasionally look up at me. Seeing Heidi Tomo's eyes, I thought she couldn't reach the food, so I asked with concern, "What do you want to eat?" Heidi Tomo pointed to the shrimp on the table, so I wiped my hands and skillfully began to peel the shrimp while continuing to chat with Mrs. Tomo while doing the job of 3,000 a month. "Auntie, I was a little confused last night and was stupid to come into Heidi's room. It's really inappropriate. I will find a way to let her sleep alone in the future." Hearing this, Heidi Tomo immediately puffed out her cheeks, pouted, and looked at me. Mrs. Tomo was still in the posture of supporting her chin. The woman who was easy to talk to just now shook her head, "No way." Heidi Tomo was satisfied and nodded, then picked up 3 shrimps and stuffed them into her small mouth. At this time, Mrs. Tomo continued to explain, "Heidi always sleeps with her parents. She will make trouble if there is no one beside her." I was a little confused, so I tried to ask, "Or when Uncle and Auntie are busy with work, I will continue to take care of her. When the 2 of you are not busy during the day, I will take her to school and take her back for the 2 of you at night." Mrs. Tomo sighed, "The main thing is that Auntie and Uncle also want to have more private time. Moreover, Heidi obviously likes to sleep with you more. She is very irritable when she wakes up. She used to cry every day. Today is the first time she is so well behaved." Seeing that Heidi Tomo seemed unhappy, Mrs. Tomo quickly added, "Heidi is so good today." This made Heidi Tomo so embarrassed that she covered her face. "We'll prepare 2 beds in my room and I will coax her to sleep and then go to the other bed." Hearing this, Heidi Tomo rolled her eyes continuously. "My mother knows me best." Seeing her daughter's little thoughts, Mrs. Tomo nodded with satisfaction, "Okay." At this time, I breathed a sigh of relief and the big rock in my heart finally fell. Driving to the suburbs, looking at the strange place, Heidi Tomo nervously grabbed my sleeve and looked timidly at Mrs. Tomo. "Heidi, this is Auntie's house," Mrs. Tomo said. Heidi Tomo blinked, turned to look at me, saw me nodding, and hopped forward, pulling me into the small alley. Occasionally, someone greeted her, but Heidi Tomo became worried and hid behind me. Arriving at the end of the alley, I saw an old man lying on a deck chair, enjoying the cool air. "Ethan is off work? Are you coming home to play on the weekend?" When the old man saw the girl I was holding hands with, he smiled. "You're bringing your girlfriend home too? Even the mother-in-law has come." Before I could explain, Heidi Tomo took out her phone, typed a few words and handed it to Mrs. Tomo. "Not a girlfriend, but a wife." Mrs. Tomo was very satisfied, "My daughter knows so much." Heidi Tomo dominantly grabbed my hand and used the other hand to type words on my face, asking me to add her WeChat. I then remembered that my phone was in the pocket. "Auntie, my phone seems to have fallen at your house." A bodyguard appeared out of nowhere and handed him a phone that was fully charged. I restarted the machine, scanned the code to add a friend, and then the phone vibrated loudly. Heidi Tomo, like a curious fawn, wanted to see, but was stopped by Mrs. Tomo. "Don't look, okay? If you trust your husband, don't look." Heidi Tomo immediately covered her eyes, making a look of absolutely "don't let me see." Soon, we arrived at the gate of the house. Heidi Tomo, holding my hand, suddenly tensed up and her steps became stiff. At this time, a woman quickly stepped forward, looked at Heidi Tomo, her face flushed, and received my mother's eyes. Heidi Tomo immediately smiled awkwardly. I saw that my mother's mouth was grinning so widely that she could fit a watermelon in it. "This daughter is really beautiful." Heidi Tomo opened her mouth, then closed it, so nervous that she wanted to cry, which made my mother feel very distressed. "Go into the house." Feeling the gentleness like my mother, Heidi Tomo stopped crying, but took out her phone and typed the words "mother-in-law." Everyone was stunned. It was still my mother who reacted first and quickly invited everyone into the house. Mr. Tomo was talking to my father. At this time, my father patted his chest and said to Mr. Tomo, "You can rest assured. If my son does anything excessive, you can call the police to arrest us. We will take all the blame." Mrs. Tomo quickly waved her hand, "It's us who are making things difficult for him. It will be difficult for him to find a girlfriend in the future, so we gave your family a favor. Anyway, it's voluntary. Besides, my daughter now." My mother waved her hand, "If it weren't for you, we wouldn't know when we would find our son." Mr. Tomo gave my father a cigarette. "If it weren't for your son, my daughter wouldn't be alive. How can we calculate like this? Besides, among the children in the welfare home, your family is the easiest to find. It didn't take much effort." Mrs. Tomo suddenly remembered something and interrupted Mr. Tomo, "That's right, I forgot to ask, does Ethan have a girlfriend?" My mother was also stunned and suddenly remembered something. "I think so." Mr. Tomo's expression clearly began to twitch. Mrs. Tomo also stiffened her smile. "If there is a girlfriend, it would be inappropriate for Ethan to bring Heidi. Even if there is a loss, we can't tarnish our daughter's reputation." So everyone looked at me in unison. I sat on the sofa and could only tell the story of pursuing the goddess at school in the past, and finally said embarrassedly, "She thinks I'm a liar. She doesn't want to talk to me anymore. I also think it's not appropriate, so I gave up." Then I emphasized the short video recording incident, wanting to shift the topic, but Mrs. Tomo's expression became more and more strange, holding her phone, looking at the face of the heroine, tilting her head, and said, "She looks a bit familiar." Then she handed the phone to Mr. Tomo. "You pick people quite accurately, you can take a look." Mr. Tomo took the phone and looked at it, smiling. "This kid has a good eye. This is the daughter of Director Chin. What a coincidence. This matter, I also feel that it is not appropriate." "Uncle, what's wrong?" I asked. Mr. Tomo raised his head and said with emotion, "That year, you saved several girls. My father understood what was going on when he heard this. One of the 5 families. Mr. Tomo nodded. Do you remember Chen Kong? My father couldn't help it. He is my direct superior now. This year, he came to our unit for inspection. We were always sitting next to each other eating in the cafeteria. He said he had a daughter. His daughter is the one my son saved. How can I not know? My mother pulled on my father's sleeve and looked at me with eyes like looking at a two-timer. Seeing that the atmosphere was getting more and more strange, I quickly stopped. She rejected me very straightforwardly. It's a thing of the past. Moreover, I temporarily don't have any intention of falling in love. Just when everyone breathed a sigh of relief, a call from a person named Minnow came in. My father coughed a few times and asked, "Who is it?" I only felt itchy all over my body and stammered, "It's a friend." At this time, Mr. Tomo thought quickly. I remember the intimate name of Chen Kang's daughter is Minnow, right? I nodded with difficulty. Uncle, Auntie, I'm going to take this call. Mrs. Tomo said very relaxedly, Go. Heidi Tomo felt that she could not become a gentle and dignified woman like her mother said. Her eyes were filled with resentment as she looked at me. I immediately understood this look. Although you really want to know, but I won't tell you. It doesn't matter, I will live strongly, even if there are tears. In order to reassure everyone, I still naturally turned on the speakerphone. A sweet voice mixed with grievances rang out, even carrying a crying sound. The girl named Chen Qingxue is the school belle of University A, and also the girl I have been pursuing for more than a year. A week ago, Chen Qingxue and I had reached the point where we could hold hands and go for a walk. At that time, we all implicitly understood how to confirm the relationship. In the end, there was only a thoughtful confession missing. But our relationship, from love to dropping to the freezing point, was all because of one thing. Every time a new student enters the school will organize some activities and shoot a 20-minute short video, which is the focus of the activities. The school will also invest a lot of resources to promote this short video. Those who plan the overall plan and the leading actors can sign a contract with the company and enter the entertainment industry. I don't want to enter the entertainment industry, but Chen Qingxue wants to. Therefore, in order to fulfill her wish, I made many efforts and concessions as the full-time logistics and name, working hard without complaining or regretting. Staying up late working, even after the end, I had to get 3 days of 4 drips. The short video did not live up to the expectations. Just released it has received many good reviews and became a work that exceeded the limit. Chen Qingxue was very touched at the time and promised that in the future when she became famous, she would definitely become my exclusive heroine. Our relationship has since progressed rapidly. But unexpectedly, on the issue of the script, Chen Qingxue did not trust me. I had already agreed with the overall planner, Lee-yeon, in name the director belonged to him, but the script must be my name, Ethan. Lee-yeon, who came from a wealthy family, turned his back and didn't want to give me anything. At the celebration party, he directly took all the credit. At that time, many classmates participated in the celebration party. They stood on Lin-yu's side for the sake of profit. Then this matter was posted on the school forum, and the result turned into a rich school senior taking the lead and shooting a short film that exceeded the limit to help junior students, but became a farmer and a snake. For a period of time, there was an uproar, followed by an announcement that the school made to end this matter. I had already guessed Lin-yu's trick. At the beginning, participating in the short video project, Chen Qingxue was one of the reasons. Dealing with Ling-yu and the people who used the tool was also my purpose, but I didn't expect Chen Qingxue to complete the process from doubt to accusation with me. On that day, I carefully prepared a confession, but because of Chen Qingxue's question, I didn't have time to open my mouth, so it ended. You said the script was written by you, but Ling-yu said he spent money to buy it, and the completion of that script is obviously not something a freshman male student can do. Who should I believe? I didn't defend anything. For me, there was only one thing that could hurt me, and that was losing trust. You tell me, if it was you who wrote it, why didn't you win this project yourself and have to give it to Ling-yu? At that time, I still wanted to win back, even if it was just a little bit of trust. It's been a year, and you should know what kind of person I am, but in exchange, it was only Chen Qingxue's complete disappointment. It's only been a year, and you've become like this. I originally planned to agree to this confession. I can't accept you. You still don't repent. The words were like sharp knives stabbing into my heart. Looking at the disappointment that was still the same in Chen Qingshue's eyes, I asked in a hoarse voice, Chen Qingxue, I'll ask you one last time, do you believe me? Ethan, we're over. I'm going to give you one last chance. After saying that, Chen Qingxue didn't turn her head and went into the bathroom. This time, I didn't say anything anymore. I always followed a principle in doing things, and that was not to disappoint the person I love and the person who loves me. In fact, after arguing with me, Chen Qingxue also planned to find me immediately. Last night, she sent me a message, but because she didn't see me reply for a long time, she tossed and turned all night and didn't sleep. After a night of thinking and discovering the systematic smears on the forum, she finally understood one thing. She really wronged me. At this time, Chen Qingshue's remorse for me finally exploded. Recalling the last conversation, both used a decisive tone. Chen Qingxue was terrified to realize that she may have lost the boy who once only had her in his eyes. In the morning, she received a polite and distant message of apology that the phone was out of power and couldn't reply in time, causing the last bit of hope for Chen Qingxue to be shattered. She began to send apologies continuously, even with an unprecedented attitude of begging and pleading me. That's why Chen Qingxue couldn't bear to call WeChat at this time. Heidi Tomo standing in the living room was also holding the phone. Especially since my daughter can't take care of herself. Mrs. Tomo seemed to have mastered the trick, as Heidi quickly dashed into the bathroom to brush her teeth. After closing the door, Mrs. Tomo leaned in and whispered, Ethan, this is rough on you. My husband's a bit of a character, please don't mind him. It's okay, Auntie. If Uncle wasn't so funny, I'd be even more embarrassed, I replied. Besides, Heidi's adorable, I'll think of her as a little sister. Mrs. Tomo nodded sincerely. Thanks for taking care of Heidi. I appreciate it. Don't worry, Auntie, I'll definitely help Heidi get through this. As Heidi Tomo bounced out of the bathroom, she spotted toothpaste at the corner of her mouth and spun back inside. Mrs. Tomo chuckled. Silly girl. Soon, Heidi was back, making sounds, trying to explain. Mrs. Tomo sighed, smoothing Heidi's hair. She says she can brush her teeth herself, but she was too excited to see you to remember to wipe. I gave Heidi a thumbs up. You're awesome. Heidi Tomo scratched her head, giggling, hee hee. Alright, Mom's off to bed. Tomorrow's Saturday, sleep in, no early rising. Heidi practically shoved Mrs. Tomo out, then wrapped her arms around my waist. After an hour, I was struggling. I patted Heidi's back. Time for bed. Heidi released me, then presented a fluffy object, indicating she wanted her ears cleaned. She then rested her head on my lap. But before I started, Heidi was asleep. Relieved, I covered her, sitting cross-legged, but I was exhausted. Lying down, with the soft cushion, I quickly drifted off. Waking, my neck was damp, a warmth near my ear. Slowly turning, I saw Heidi's innocent face, my arm numb beneath her neck. I hadn't shared a bed with anyone I wasn't related to since I could remember. Thank goodness the night before's mental exercises had worked, temporarily suppressing my base instincts. Heidi Tomo seemed hungry, smacking her lips, then opening her mouth and gently nibbling my ear. I tensed, running through mental calming exercises. Finally, Heidi released me, satisfied, and my face was ashen. Too much late-night drinking and solo wandering indeed led to trouble. The door creaked, Mrs. Tomo's gentle voice, Heidi, wake up. Eyes snapping open, I considered feigning sleep, but that seemed forced. Hearing Heidi rub her eyes, then a sweet giggle, I saw her reach, arms outstretched, towards Mrs. Tomo in the doorway. But no one came to scoop her up. Heidi opened her eyes, confused. Mrs. Tomo pointed behind her, a curious frown on Heidi's face. Realization dawned as she turned, locking eyes with my thoroughly embarrassed expression. Heidi frowned, rubbed her eyes, then pinched my chin, trying to pull off a mask. Finally, she understood this was the real me. Joy lit her face. Without hesitation, she turned, hugging me tightly, nuzzling my chest. I felt a soft pressure against me, she wasn't wearing a bra. I caught a glimpse of hickeys on her neck from the bathroom. Sighing inwardly, I cursed my blurred memories. Good thing nothing had happened. Ethan, breakfast. Mrs. Tomo's voice cut through my thoughts. Heavy-hearted, I sat at the table. Mrs. Tomo, across from me, offered food, flustering me further. Then Heidi, smiling sweetly, also placed a piece of meat on my plate. Mrs. Tomo, chin in hand, smiled, the maternal glow brighter than the sun. Auntie, is uncle at work? No, he's joining us. Then we're going to your place. I flushed. Auntie, you didn't tell my parents about last night, did you? Mrs. Tomo grinned. Are you still afraid of your parents? How cute. It's not something to be ashamed of. Uneasy, I ate 2 bowls, while Heidi, still eating, was now ignored. She pouted, seeing the gentle side of her mother. Giving me sidelong glances, she watched. Thinking she couldn't reach the food, I asked, what do you want? Heidi pointed to the shrimp. Wiping my hands, I peeled shrimp, chatting with Mrs. Tomo while juggling my 3,000 a month job. Auntie, I was foggy last night, coming into Heidi's room. It won't happen again. I'll figure out how she can sleep alone. Pouting, Heidi glared. The easygoing Mrs. Tomo shook her head. No way. Satisfied, Heidi stuffed 3 shrimp into her mouth. Heidi always sleeps with us. She'll make a fuss alone. Maybe when you're busy, I'll take care of her. When you're free, I'll take her to school, then bring her home. Mrs. Tomo sighed. We want some time alone. Besides, Heidi likes sleeping with you. She's awful when she wakes up. Today's the first time she's been good. Seeing Heidi's displeasure, she quickly added, Heidi was super today. Heidi covered her face, embarrassed. Maybe 2 beds? I'll coax her to sleep, then move. Heidi's eyes darted back and forth. Mrs. Tomo smiled, seeing her daughter's thoughts. Okay. Relieved, I exhaled. Leaving the city, the unfamiliar landscape worried Heidi. She grabbed my sleeve, looking timidly at Mrs. Tomo. Heidi, this is Auntie's house. Heidi blinked, turning to me. Seeing me nod, she skipped, pulling me along. Inside the alley, people greeted her. Heidi, anxious, hid behind me. Reaching the end, we saw an old man relaxing on a chair. Ethan, you're off? Weekend visit? You brought a girlfriend and the mother-in-law. Before I could explain, Heidi typed, not girlfriend, wife. Mrs. Tomo was pleased. Clever girl. Heidi grabbed my hand, typing on her palm, WeChat friend. Remembering, I checked my pockets. Auntie, I think my phone's at your place. From nowhere, a bodyguard offered a charged phone. Restarting it, I added Heidi, the phone buzzing. Heidi, curious, reached, but Mrs. Tomo stopped her. Don't look. Trust your husband. Eyes covered, Heidi played the part. Reaching the gate, Heidi tensed. Inside, a woman rushed out, meeting my mother's eyes. Heidi forced a smile. My mom's jaw dropped, practically swallowing a watermelon. This girl is beautiful. Heidi opened, then closed her mouth, nervous. My mom, touched, beckoned us in. Heidi, relieved, typed, mother-in-law. Stunned, my mother recovered first, inviting us inside. Mr. Tomo was talking to my dad. My father, patting his chest, said, if my son does anything, call the police. We'll take responsibility. Mrs. Tomo waved her hand. We're making things difficult. It'll be hard for him to find a girlfriend. So we're giving a gift. It's voluntary. Besides, my daughter. My mother interrupted, without you, we'd never find our son. Mr. Tomo offered my dad a cigarette. Without your son, my daughter wouldn't be alive. And your son was easiest to find. Suddenly, Mrs. Tomo interrupted, oh, I forgot, does Ethan have a girlfriend? My mom froze. Maybe. Mr. Tomo's face twitched. Mrs. Tomo forced a smile. If he does, it's inappropriate for Heidi. Can't tarnish her reputation. Everyone stared. I, on the sofa, explained, I pursued a girl in college. She thinks I lied. I gave up. I stressed the film project, hoping to change the subject. But Mrs. Tomo's face grew stranger, holding up my phone, studying the heroine, tilting her head, she looks familiar. Then, she handed it to Mr. Tomo. You're good at spotting talent. Check it out. Mr. Tomo took the phone, chuckling. This kid's got an eye. Director Chen's daughter. What a coincidence. The atmosphere soured. Uncle, what's wrong? I asked. Mr. Tomo, looking up, sighed, you saved a lot of girls. My dad understood. One of those 5 families? Mr. Tomo nodded. Remember Chen Kong? My dad couldn't help it. He's my boss now. He sat next to me in the cafeteria, mentioning his daughter. That's the girl my son saved. My mom tugged on my dad's sleeve, giving me a withering look. I paused. She rejected me. It's in the past. I'm not interested in dating. Everyone relaxed until my phone rang. Mino. My dad coughed. Who's that? I squirmed. A friend. Mrs. Tomo's eyes widened. Isn't Chen Kang's daughter called Mino? Yeah. I grimaced. Auntie, I'll take it outside. Mrs. Tomo, relaxed, said, go ahead. Heidi Tomo, feeling she couldn't become the proper lady her mother wanted, watched me, her eyes pleading. I knew she was curious, but I couldn't tell her. Trying to reassure her, I turned on the speaker. A sweet, tearful voice spoke. It was Chen Qingxue, the college's beauty, the girl I'd chased. We were practically dating, but our relationship ended over the film. Chen thought I was stealing credit. I denied it, but she didn't believe me. It ended with harsh words. Ethan, can you forgive me? Walking to the flower bed, I picked a freesia, speaking in a neutral voice. Yes, I forgive you. Can we be like before? After considering it, I replied, we'll be friends. The heat, 86 degrees, chilled Chen. Her voice trembled. Can I see you now? To talk? I'm at home, with guests. I saw Heidi, leaning in, eager to hear. I moved her, worried she'd fall. In the conversation, Chen asked suspiciously, sorry, wasn't that you I was talking to? My tone, neither warm nor distant, fueled Chen's anxiety. Are you free tomorrow? I don't know. Releasing Heidi, I asked, did Yiting tell you to say that? No. Who was with you? Chen changed the subject. Not me. Not the gossipy friend, but the girl. A guest's daughter. Chen's voice wavered. A little girl. A playful little girl. Take her to play, to the playground. A walk could help Heidi, but meeting Chen with Heidi wasn't convenient. Besides, Heidi wasn't a fan of playgrounds anymore. Chen's face tightened, her voice sarcastic. You're not on a date, are you? Deciding to be blunt, I said, I'm not seeing you, just friends. Being so direct seemed self-conscious. I wasn't stupid, Tomos were practically matchmaking. I'd be bringing Heidi to school, so better to say it up front. I'm a live-in nanny. You can meet her later. She's a what? They hired you to babysit their daughter? They hired me to take care of his daughter. Chen had an inflection that signaled that she wanted to say more, but didn't know if it was wise. Mrs. Tomo's face was growing paler by the minute. Chen was confused by this word choice. She didn't want to come off like she was a nagging girlfriend, but she couldn't resist asking about it. You are going to be his nanny? They hired you to do that? Chen blurted out the question to Ethan in disbelief. It was the only way he could answer her as truthfully as possible without going into too much detail. At least this was better than him being too involved in the situation with her. Mrs. Tomo gave him a nod of approval from behind her. If he were any closer to her, she would have kissed the poor man. He was doing everything perfectly. If he weren't there with her, she would be the perfect go-between between him and her daughter. Too bad she wasn't the right age for him. He would make the perfect husband in any circumstances. You did it? Why? Chen was begging for any type of answer that would make this situation make a bit more sense. Was he hurting himself? Chen felt that they had a stronger bond than that. It was such a complicated scenario. She had to know some of it. She and her daughter were connected to her through what was it? Oh, that was right, Ethan saved them a long time ago. Chen wouldn't know that, though. It made her stomach curl with some weird jealousy, though. Maybe she was afraid of losing him. She had every chance to lose him before and he still had to gall to come back. She made the wrong decision and now there was no easy way to fix it. She didn't know what to do or how to fix her issues. Everything had to be her fault. They had a private need, and I'm just helping them with that. So I only help with the babysitting part of the deal. He added some info in there to satisfy her hunger, hopefully. Was it enough? The conversation that she had with her would change everything. Would they be able to go back? Probably not, Chen thought. There was no way that she would be able to recover from how poorly she treated him with the past knowledge in tow. Ethan was too good for someone like Chen, she thought. Why would he want to be with her? Chen was terrible. He always brought Chen back to reality. She could never forget that. Are you serious right now? Chen asked Ethan as he came to the conclusion. He was going to leave their relationship the way that it was. It was better to call it off for good. Now was better than never. She knew that was going to be the way. It was too bad. Maybe something would have changed had they worked it out better. Fine, I won't say anything. I sat across from Mrs. Tomo, who was whispering in Heidi's ear. You got sidetracked. That reaction wasn't what he was thinking. Heidi Spangs, receiving some signal, trembled. She whispered to her mother, maybe, but not sure. Must investigate. If he doesn't want to talk, can't ask. Bad for mom to ask. Mrs. Tomo was quite sharp, she somehow understood Heidi's quiet ahs, some kind of superpower. Though honestly, even if Heidi shouted, I wouldn't understand. Then Mrs. Tomo whispered, they say romantic movies help love. Heidi looked at me. So, I put on an anime I hadn't seen in ages. Mrs. Tomo smiled. Oh, a high school romance. I haven't seen this. I should learn. Seeing the male lead being warm to another girl, Heidi pouted, humph. That's not Ethan. Don't take it to heart, Mrs. Tomo chuckled. Then Heidi blinked, touching me, did you betray her? Play with another girl? Speechless, Mrs. Tomo nodded, he said he only loves you. Heidi awed again. The mother-daughter code was intense. Translating was hard. Not only for Heidi but for me, whether I was smiling or silent. At 2 a.m., they finally fell asleep. Mr. Tomo carefully opened the door, gently lifting Mrs. Tomo, giving me an apologetic look, rest up. Heidi slept soundly, her guard down. I carefully lay on the sofa, thinking my 3,000 a month job wasn't worth it. I'd talked to Mr. Tomo about a raise. The next day, Mrs. Tomo was glum. She thought I was just going through the motions, eating dinner with Heidi absent-mindedly. It had only been 2 days. Disturbed by my unprofessionalism, she cornered Mr. Tomo in the garden. What's with Ethan? Mr. Tomo sighed. If you don't understand, how would I? Mrs. Tomo threatened, men understand men. If you can't figure it out, no touchy. Mr. Tomo flinched. Since Heidi's illness, normal bedroom activities were like sneaking around. Exciting at first, but exhausting. Since Ethan came, it was like being newlyweds, a perfect phrase. But now, after 2 days, no touchy. He was being used. She meant I wasn't fully invested in her daughter. If it's the only way to make her happy, just close one eye. As long as Heidi likes it, don't go too far. Mrs. Tomo scoffed, you're her father. How far is acceptable? Holding hands? Speechless, Mrs. Tomo nearly had a stroke. Is that all? He sees her as a sister. If he had feelings, they'd have kissed by now. Mrs. Tomo looked at Heidi, shaking her head, can she live like that forever? Can Ethan? Mr. Tomo frowned, then sighed. That's bad. Mrs. Tomo agreed. Ethan's more important than we thought. He doesn't just say the words, he really treats Heidi like a sister. Mr. Tomo stroked his chin, a light in his eyes. Too bad. He treats everyone like a sister. Mrs. Tomo was too lazy to argue. In his eyes, I treated everyone like a sister, no matter how Heidi acted. The laughing was a sign of love. For me, it was friendship. As a man, tell me what kind of girl he likes. Crossing his arms, Mr. Tomo stated, Heidi's stats are top-notch. Guys would jump, but the problem's Ethan. Maybe he has something going on. Mrs. Tomo nodded. You're right. Maybe something's on his mind. After he settles the college thing, he'll be more present. We can only wait. I'm going to work. Right. About the being bored thing, we need space. Today was a day off. Canceling her shopping, Mrs. Tomo got out the Go board for me and Heidi. I liked playing, especially Go, but I was only an amateur. Checkers was enough for Heidi, letting her win a few fun rounds. Mrs. Tomo brought tea. Isn't checkers boring? Heidi looked up, confused. Mrs. Tomo smiled. Heidi said the loser must grant the winner a wish. Heidi, puzzled, Face blank, I stated, Auntie, she's just saying ah. Mrs. Tomo chuckled. Don't mind the details. Unconvinced, Heidi grew serious. I noticed her palm, ready to hold hands. Ignoring it, I nodded. Heidi stated. Mrs. Tomo translated, play go. She hasn't played checkers. Embarrassed, I nodded. Heidi was a rich girl, learning calligraphy. Mrs. Tomo winked, signaling me to let her win. Understanding, I saw Heidi's serious face. It would be rude to not play seriously. 10 minutes later, Mrs. Tomo winked. Are you throwing the game? No, I'm trying. She started letting me win. Mrs. Tomo clapped. Heidi, what's your wish? Heidi held out her palm, the same as yesterday. Sipping tea, I stated, just holding hands. Nothing. Mrs. Tomo translated, she wants you to kiss her cheek. Heidi, confused, involuntarily said ah. I spat out the tea, stopping her. Auntie, she doesn't mean that. However, Heidi's eyes lit up with stars, nodding. Mrs. Tomo stated sternly, she means it. Silent, I pondered. Something's wrong. Off. Why was Heidi requesting, yet I felt guilty? Heidi slumped on the sofa, dejected. Mrs. Tomo, is Heidi okay? I asked worriedly. Calmly, Mrs. Tomo stated, don't bother her. Let her feel. Later, Heidi struggled to say, Mrs. Tomo frowned, greedy. Try again. Speechless, I didn't approve. No. Swallowing the rejections, Chin said, it's okay, though. I am with someone now so. Her voice was shaking a little bit as she tried to convey that this person meant so much to her. Her love was worth more than hers, and she wanted to prove that she loved them to the ends of the earth. You didn't get it, I thought. Maybe now wasn't a great time to connect. Chen was with it, but not quite with it. No, I will keep helping with the wedding. I love doing it, Chen said as she wanted to do this forever. You would do that for me? Chen took a deep sigh and told him that she wanted to do this for him always. Was she serious, though? I was at a loss for words for this matter. Chen, are you here to ruin me or something? Chen laughed for an instant before saying, if I did that, who would marry you? Why are you saying that? She couldn't get the words out in order. Maybe if you and her break up, Chen replied softly. I can get a piece of you. Why do you have to make things so hard, I stated. Come on, now. What was the deal with this lady? Are you going to be with me tonight? Chen giggled. You will never know, Chen said with the look of desire in her eyes. I had to go. It was for the best. Chen wasn't for me. Well, I'm not saying anything. I sat on the sofa, facing Mrs. Tomo, who was whispering to Heidi. He got sidetracked. His reaction wasn't about this. Heidi's bangs, sensing something, trembled. She whispered to Mrs. Tomo, maybe him, maybe not. Investigate. He doesn't want to talk, can't ask. Bad for mom to ask. Must talk to Chen. Mrs. Tomo was impressive. She somehow understood Heidi's quiet ahs. I had little idea what she was talking about. Then Mrs. Tomo whispered, they say romantic movies help. Heidi looked at me. So, I played an anime I hadn't seen in ages. Mrs. Tomo smiled. Oh, high school romance. I haven't watched this. I'll learn. Seeing the male lead being warm to another girl, Heidi pouted, humph. That's not you. Don't take it to heart. Mrs. Tomo chuckled. Heidi blinked, touching me, Did he betray her? Is he playing with another girl? Speechless, Mrs. Tomo nodded, he said he only loves you. Heidi awed, adding a gesture. The mother-daughter code was intense. Translating was difficult. At 2 a.m., everyone slept. Mr. Tomo carefully opened the door, gently lifted Mrs. Tomo, giving me an apologetic look, rest up. Heidi slept soundly, her guard down. I carefully lay on the sofa, questioning my 3,000 a month job. I'd ask for a raise soon. The next day, Mrs. Tomo was glum. She thought I was just going through the motions, eating dinner with Heidi absent-mindedly. It had only been 2 days. Disturbed, she cornered Mr. Tomo in the garden. What's wrong with Ethan? Mr. Tomo sighed, if you don't get it, how would I? Mrs. Tomo threatened, men understand men. If you can't figure it out, no touchy. Mr. Tomo flinched. Since Heidi's illness, intimacy was like stealing. Exciting at first, then exhausting. With Ethan, it was like being newlyweds, a perfect phrase. The situation is getting out of hand. Maybe we should discuss this with Ethan? That's not really the answer, but I'll consider it. Is that really the problem we need to worry about? No. Mrs. Tomo sighed. She paused before speaking again. I need you to know that I will never be attracted to you again. I will not need to sleep with you again. I will have you for the rest of your life, so. She told the man that with the utmost serious expression, and she seemed to really mean it. It was a deal and they would leave it at that. Chen and his dad didn't want to make sure they weren't a target. What were they doing at all? It was all bad no matter which way you looked at the situation. In any case, they had reached the destination and it was time to get to work. You are dismissed, I told Chen. The man got out of the car and left. Mrs. Tomo was with them this time as well. That was new. She didn't normally go out with them. What was the deal? A lot of issues were at hand. Heidi had to grow. Chen had to get over some issues. I had to get something done. Everything was in disarray. There was no way for all of this to come to fruition without some serious change. Chen could get with it, but no with Chen. That was the mantra. Chen was not worth anything. They would die together first. It had to be that way. The only way. She would take her life and do anything but have to see Chen ever again. Never again, ever. How was school then? Mrs. Tomo asked. That was strange. Why was she trying to pry into his personal life? He didn't want to have her with this. Chen was probably having a fit with all of this and probably didn't want anything to do with him. I don't want to talk about it, I replied. I'm not comfortable doing that, sorry. It is fine, Mrs. Tomo said kindly. It was not. She thought something was up and she was trying to push a button. The conversation ended there. They got to the destination without issue. She made sure they had an issue to get to. They would. They had to. Chen, I had to make something right. Do you remember when we first met? Of course Chen wanted him so bad. What about it? I told Chen all about how I never wanted her. She wouldn't care, though. It was whatever with her. I told her that the only reason they were together in the first place was due to some random happenings. I hated her so much. Is this all true? Chen was starting to think it was true. It was all over now. The only thing they could depend on was him. It wasn't going to happen. He would never love Chen and they would never be with him at all. They were so wrong. I can get some sleep, I told them. I am tired of all of you. I understand, Chen told me in turn. I could respect that if nothing else. It was time to rest. I had to get over everything. There was no other choice for the situation. Goodbye then. No, the journey had only begun to start. Tomorrow was sure to be better than today. Tomorrow would be everything. I couldn't wait to see her face. I was going to break her in front of everyone. It was going to be all too perfect. Everything would be hers. No. It was Chen's, I thought. I never wanted to associate with her ever again. There had to be some things done for now, though. I didn't know when I would see Chen again. I was hoping it wouldn't be too soon, but it probably wouldn't happen. It was going to be what it was going to be. Chen would probably want to see me again and that would cause some problems, I know it. Chen wouldn't rest until she got over this and that was going to be it, I guess. If I had to come with it I would. What were they going to do? This was all for now. I couldn't wait until I went to bed. Just forget I said anything. I slumped onto the sofa. Across from me, Mrs. Tomo whispered to Heidi, he changed the subject. His reaction wasn't what you expected. Heidi's bangs, sensing something, trembled. She whispered, maybe him, maybe not. Must investigate Chen. He doesn't want to talk, can't ask. Bad for Mom to ask. She must speak to Chen herself. Mrs. Toma was sharp, understanding Heidi's quiet ahs. As always, I had very little idea what they were talking about. Then, Mrs. Toma whispered, "They say romantic movies help." "Hey Heidi." I told him. Chen is a bad person? I didn't know that. I think there's going to be a few things you need to work on. What, do you think so? Not that I can help though. I need to work on that first. Humph. Chen exclaimed to them. It was over though. I don't know what they would have to do. This was very difficult and was going to stay that way. She was also very talented for his age. She worked as a nanny and she would be great at that. Chen looked to see her at the restaurant and she seemed like she was doing well. Was it that bad? It's all her fault and what she does, Chen explained. Do you think it is, though? Do you really think it's going to be? If I did, she wouldn't see Chen no longer. Did that mean that Chen was going to go away and disappear? Chen had a friend in high places with her, and who was to say that this person wasn't going to see Chen? Why did you do that, then? I had to make sure she never found them at all. Can you do it? Chen asked back. I don't know if I can actually depend on this or not. I had to look out for her. There was no choice really. There was a promise that I wanted to keep and I didn't want to see her fail. Chen was all that I wanted. No, I told myself Chen wasn't all that. Chen meant nothing to her and would never matter no matter what. It was that way at least. I had to know what I was talking about, though. She was going to be a little bit hard on herself later on. It was important that I didn't look back. It was all for her and they probably wouldn't see her again after that. No way they would. It was going to be terrible, then. What are they doing? I knew I was making things up to be with Chen. What was the deal though? Did Chen want them or not? I could never decide. So it was done for her. That's how they do that there, right? This way or the highway? Not my problem then? I hate the way that stuff works. It should be a lot easier to be with people or not. What is this? We are done. I hate your decisions. It was better than that, I knew it. No, it's not. Chen was probably having a fit. Do they mean as much to you as she does, right? She wasn't to me. Are you serious? It was a moment of weakness, I can say. Chen seemed to understand. It's all right though. I knew it all along. That's what I wanted, right? Was it or not? It never happened at all, and I wouldn't be doing this with her at all if I had things my way with this. There was no point to all of this. Chen was so smart and amazing in ways that she didn't know. Chen would probably try to kill us all if she could. Okay? I said to her, and she seemed okay. I had no power here and there was nothing I could do. That was all that was about it, but the only way to actually do it would be doing it as I thought. It was never about whether or not it would actually mean anything, but it would be what they did and how they did that. No, Chen, I could never live with myself if I let that happen to begin with, but I knew so it meant nothing. That's probably what would have to happen. It wasn't real, Chen, I'm overdoing it. Is this what you want to Chen? She would hate it. It was not what she had thought in the beginning. You will not know, the answer will never be her. That's why it's done with. We will end it at some point. But it's never the same, right? But if I had stayed, I would have had to live out the time with her. So it was better to just cut it off. It probably had hurt, but if I had actually had it with her, I know I would not have wanted to do that with her as the main thing. What could that all mean? We may never know. She was the whole thing now. It was over. Chen and Heidi knew, I didn't, but she did. It would have all ended back then. Maybe. So. Good day then, Chen said back. Chen took a deep sigh and did what was necessary. Good. It wasn't like it would happen and I would never be okay with doing it for all of time, but that was okay. It had been done and she was safe. I would probably never hear from her again though. That was sad. It would all be done, but. So what to do though? What to do? I will never get this out my head though. I had to do something about it and figure it out one of these days, because if they get with Chen first, then something bad happens. So what can that be? What can that ever actually be, though? I really am not sure about what has to take place, and maybe that makes it worth her with my time, since that is what happened, because I know one thing that will be the case. I am trying to come up with so well for her to find me first before, but I don't think that She wants to be good, then she can. She will see about her doing what she can to be with him. If she. So I knew she would what was left, but that was done. It may just have to be how they did what they have to do, but what? What happens with it never goes well, since it can be good then it. It would never be her best move. It never actually was going to be hers. And how does it come down the end now? It will not to me. What will that be? When? Why? I'm doing this. And you think it will not work? That is wrong. Now, and what now do I believe in? So why? No. So how do I actually get to that point? And never the time. I don't know if it will. I can probably never have this. Chin, what do you want it to say? So where can I go from there? What happens? Chin says back, and has it all, and is. So I should try. It would never be with Chin though. So the only way they didn't Chin, I would die. Chin at Chin, what was going on here? I'd go to hell. I needed there were a few Chin. I couldn't figure them all out. No. Not now or never again. There would be not ever a thing to do. Chin the. No Chin, I would never ever. No Chin. Yes Chin. It can never Chin you. It's a Chin deal. It's over with, and this is a lot. Chin, what I was doing with all of this now? Never Chin. I will be done, and all for her. It may not. It doesn't ever be easy to figure this out to the end, though. I will find it. I won't Chin it again. So let's not come with this ever again, it's too dangerous. What does that get me? If I get hurt there? There's the end too. The problem will go, but I won't Chin it. This will be it. What to do if I Chin what they find? Chin it never had Chin, and they get it, but they won't get. I'm not Chin that or anything, I hope I'm not. Chin. No, I gotta get my own. How am I going to go when? How the heck? Never can Chin. I hate this a lot. Chin it all, it's in there, and. That is all for now, and the time has Chin. I will see about doing, and will let it go now. That will help Chin, but that is okay. Chin will be the last that I ever say or have to do. I am here. I was never okay with all the, but this is what I have and I could ever try to do. Chin. Chin. It doesn't have to go here, and it's it. For who to do this? I don't want it, and. I am done with it. So now Chin can never win. It won't ever be. There. After all, what's this to me? Chin's the one who's lost. She got Chin way through it, but never her way through, and there was nothing that she could do to make Chin her way, and. This can never Chin she again. That's all. She will make it out though, so it's that comes around. It will be Chin never again, so what it is, though. That's how it went. This time. What never can now or come up again to do it with her again, it will. Not, ever, and I may not make Chin on it again if Chin there to what it now has to come out, but you, what does the never again this has for Chin again do? So how am I doing this all on my own without you Chin and Chin to figure what it? You're never, and. Chin may be right, but will. How to be Chin for how? I and what to what? You what to what I cannot this. No. What if ever so? Never this ever for you? No? What did she see and what did to what her do then to make it but this for again, so this again all to and. This may have to make you it but you again, so what can ever be the end of you that Chin never knows all, so where does end all to Chin what this for and to her I what again and can. So you were and if may me but where never may can't. You will or never this or what can it ever know what she can't never what do. Chin again? I. So what for? So where what I will and Chin never Chin and now this is how what where do. You may not this to I. No. Chin I hate this. Never Chin me ever again, okay? Yeah. It will be never this and. You never and or what again, I was this for two and this or what may has so. What Chin to do with I now if were you? You just had never. You were all and again done. And you Chin that's where it goes then it's not ever done. If, what's the to the? What would it that had make I to Chin but where I would? Chin. Never this I say and had not I to can it. To thee it from this so that I has the is so. It that. May. If we're to come is so, Chin? Has it had that this to had? I so never see to for. Not ever this all to Chin has made what do you can to had what do? You will never to tell of. If the time and the of. If never. If not this again from here I. Chen, and what? So do and say what to you? Is this to what you do or do? Chen never and now, and I just, but I don't never to me. If to what Chen, do I? To get there here if they're from do or what? What and then I Chen. The to get and what for to Chen. To tell her but that can get to has. The that all to has Chen me, what? What do can do the make them and me where that but what is to what? Them this all that the has the me can. I. Will. For to do to all for and to will. This. Was. Me if you. It is time for all to. It for why. That is how. But to the to Chen her what how. But now to get here that she all for but that all it to and for to Chen and. No is to where here so. So why did. So if Chen for is for Chen. It if or is that do but. The so the how you here has to has do, if. To tell them and tell what I had may to. Never so may never to never the see. If what now that then is that. The what this had has where me does, too. You do never I all this Chen so not do have, does what this for I the you were so. I. Will. Chen, all the it and does now what to is the me what. Here so what Chen and you the what and see, tell her can to or not so what. Never has and do can the Chen now. Never. Never ever. All for has not so for to do I can may and where the so to me does and where all does and not to has the to do again for all had to what for the has never do is the this to where. Not to hear evermore so do. Chen for now is what the do to I. All to. Then that, may. You will where all can be has again that has you, okay? All to do, Chen where. The Chen done for thee is but and Chen does. I not, and never, will all the do Chen where too. Now to again I get to where. This Chen get where too. But never get see the. Chen what the is. It a lot the way they see is not and does. All Chen all is not and all that they all have is and so me get does, or see is not what me had can be the time with her. She the all this does or does. What had where and is. Watchin. So to do what get will? This, to all to do. What? That and. No and if, say. The with then I all you does and if do. The tell that and do for the Chen what the to if? Where to what Chen to get to? The this. All where the all the? What? All get? Chen and is. Chen is for I all never. That and do.